Washington's clear-thinking headquarters. The Morning Majority, 5 to 9 on 630 WMAL.
637 on WMAL. This is the Morning Majority. Good Wednesday to you. Brian Neiman, Mary Catherine Ham from the Daily Caller. The Arts and Craft Project going well this morning. We've got the glitter on the heart now with the macaroni that's glued to the construction paper.
I have glitter pins in the office.
It's fantastic. You're going to be a great mom someday. KERRY PICKET joins us now, editor of the Water Cooler, Washington Times. Good morning, KERRY. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
We were just talking about this deal that was made on Friday, and they said it was $38 billion worth of cuts, and now some people say, well, if you really do the math, it isn't quite $38 billion worth of cuts, and there's a growing revolt. I don't know, maybe revolt's too strong of a word, but a lot of Republicans, a lot of Tea Party Republicans are not happy about this deal. Is there any chance this thing actually doesn't get passed on Thursday when it goes up for a vote?
You know, it's funny because last week, even before anyone even knew that perhaps the government could shut down, I was talking to a couple of staffers up on the Hill, and there was one person who said to me that one particular congressman actually stood up in conference and did actually yell at Boehner. And it's my understanding that apparently they could hear a pin drop in the room.
Did he yell, "You lie"?
Yeah. So, Boehner obviously did know that there was a lot of friction going on in the party. But the fact of the matter is that they knew that if the government did shut down, that there was a huge risk that, of course, that the party could very well be blamed. And they figured at that point that something did have to get done as far as the stopgap measure was concerned, and something that, of course, Mary Catherine has been covering for a very long time was the school choice measure, and and if you noticed, one of the things was Planned Parenthood couldn't get defunded, that did get the school choice measure in D.C. somehow kind of flew beneath the radar and somehow did get through. That was a good thing, but now with the whole $38 billion is, a lot of people are sort of pointing out, the kind of $12 billion, that was sort of covered already, and we have to remember that it may not have been that much. So that is sort of coming to light right now, and a lot of people are wondering whether or not we are actually going to be cutting the actual $1 trillion of money that really needs to be cut, because once that debt ceiling really begins to hit us, the Saudis and the Chinese are really going to start perhaps collecting in the future, and that's when the real catastrophe is going to start hitting us.
Well, yeah, and it feels kind of like one of those situations where Boehner and Republicans sort of nominally look like the winners of the situation, but fiscal conservatives do not feel like winners right now. And I will say I do love the D.C. School choice going through, and I think that's big for education around the country, and it's a blow to teachers unions, so I do love that part of it. But Boehner was praised for having really good communication with his members during this whole process. Do you feel like this is a surprise to them, that maybe the cuts were less than he advertised, or that they were on the same page throughout the process?
It's funny because even though people knew that things were going late into the night, kind of late, almost to the last minute, a lot of people sort of knew that an agreement was already drawn out almost days, if not weeks in advance. There were sort of these conspiracy theories, like, they're almost trying to figure out who's going to be Superman to save Lois Lane before she hits the pavement.
Right.
And frankly, now it's trying to figure out why is it that Paul Ryan is almost getting beaten up sometimes, even by his own party. And at one point, Paul Ryan is almost impossible to even get a hold of up on Capitol Hill. As he was walking onto the floor, even yesterday, I shouted at him, I was like, Mr. Ryan, what do you think about Schumer trashing your budget? And he just walks away. He's almost impossible to get right now.
But is this a vote tomorrow for the CR? Should we be watching it very closely? Could it flame out?
Yeah, it could very well, but you know what? I just don't see it happening, because I spoke with Virginia Fox of North Carolina, And I said, look, there is concern that this thing could melt down. And she's like, I just don't see that happening.
Okay.
Steve King of Iowa, I asked him, there is concern that this thing could very well not happen. And, Steve King, very well known to be one of the most conservative members of the party. And he's like, I just don't see that happening as well. So I just, there are a lot of theories out there that there's some members who are looking to sabotage this. And you know what? I don't think that it could happen right now.
All right. President gives his speech today on debt reduction. The White House has been very tight-lipped about it. What are you hearing? I mean, are we essentially going to get more tax cuts, or not more tax cuts, raising taxes?
That we won't get.
Yeah, that's right. That for sure we won't get that. Raising taxes, cutting the military, and some type of reform when it comes to Medicare and Medicaid. What are you hearing about this speech?
Well, it's funny because even before he is going to be delivering this speech, you notice Jeff Sessions just jumped right out in front of him this weekend and said, CBO couldn't even score this thing. And he made sure that he put out the statement that this is the most irresponsible budget that the president of this republic has ever seen. And he made sure that the president knew this. And it's funny that here's the president saying, "Oh, and we're going to have defense cuts." And how many countries out in the Middle East that we are we putting kinetic military action out there?
Right.
I mean, that's like insanity. So
we could have cut more money out of the budget had we not gone into Libya.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the same time, he's talking about, we'll have all these healthcare savings, and then we have, of course, Obamacare that we're also dealing with. So, this is just craziness in terms of all these crazy platitudes that we're seeing in this delivery.
It's the savings via investment.
Savings via investment, right? Yeah, that's
exactly. And and where are the numbers? They're absolutely nowhere, because once again, Jeff Sessions is absolutely right, because CBO simply didn't score it, and I think it's really just kind of, once again, candy canes and unicorns at this point.
Thank you, Kerry. Great to have you on the show. We appreciate it.
Sure thing. Take care, guys.
KERRY PICKET, editor of Waterco in the Washington Times. You're right. It's like buying a new pair of shoes, but because they're 20% off, you actually save money. How about
Which,
that?
to be fair, is a philosophy I sometimes follow with shoes, but it's not a big-ticket item,